achieved.
Voch broke the whole show. We did 15 minutes and it was amazing. And he didn't hit record. It was great. And we'll never get it back.
Okay, they can hear you. They can hear you. We heard you on the phone. Hey, man, we did like one of the best 15 minutes of podcast radio. You know what I'm saying? But it went away because I'm incompetent and I need to hire a producer. But we broke the joke right now. But we're gonna try to get sponsors in this thing. We're gonna try to make this thing work. You heard? Shouts out to all my people up in here. At least we could do things like this now, Jeff. At least we could do things like this now. You see what I'm saying? We
right, brick on my brick.
So Jeff actually knows what that means now, because I've explained what right brick on my brick means to him. You know what I'm saying? So he's in on this. That's our theme for the new Cowboy Land. So Jeff, do we try to make a new show, or do we just kind of go back over the points that we hit, but just quickly? Like which one?
Well, it'll be hard because it was amazing. And it's hard to that's one of the things I suck at in radio. People are like, hey, play the hits, whatever the big story of the day is, go. And I'm like, I can't repeat myself. But I think we have to try. At least the topics, I think we have to try to recreate, and everybody that's watching, just know, we did it better. We did it. Oh my God. It was good.
So this is a audition to see if me and you got true work chemistry. Let's figure this thing out. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Hey, what's happening, Jeff? What's up, dude?
Voch. Hey.
Nice to meet you. All that stuff. So I was taking a walk the other day and I was scrolling down my cell phone, you know what I mean? And my hotline blinked and I got a little bing from The Athletic. Now, you know what right brick on my brick means now. In my chat box, everybody in my audience knows what right brick on my brick means now. People from your audience, whenever they watch this, they can come over and ask my people and we'll explain it to them, right? So we want to have one of the bricks because the price keep going up. Okay, and the brick is basically a top tier quarterback when it's time for a draft world or whatever. So we know Lawrence is one. We know Fields is another. I have a lot of faith in Zach Wilson, and I know that media scouts got to catch up to have faith in Zach Wilson. But Dane Brugler is somebody I really trust, and he don't just drop information for the sake of dropping it. Dane Brugler only says things that he's seen before. He had Zach Wilson second, number 2 overall to the Jaguars over Justin Fields. And that does a bunch for right brick on my brick, Jeff Cavanaugh. How big is Zach Wilson, or just that situation? Or like just humor me. Pull up Tankathon like we did 15 minutes ago.
Like we did? Yeah. So
hit me.
With the quarterbacks, and like you said, Dane Brugler, this is his full-time job. He does this year round. He gives me top hundreds to watch before college football season starts. So he knows what he's doing. And if he does something in a mock draft, it doesn't mean he's predicting it, but it means he's doing it as an exercise to inform people. So he put Zach Wilson at number 2 overall because he knows. Are you getting feedback on my mic somehow?
No.
Are we getting feedback? Okay. Because he knows through talking to people that NFL front offices aren't going to have the quarterbacks in the same order. They're not. It's not going to be, it's Lawrence, Fields, Wilson, Lance. Somebody's going to have it Lawrence, Wilson, Lance, Fields. Lawrence, Wilson, Fields, Lance. Like somebody's going to have those orders. And so if you put Wilson there at 2, then you get to Cincinnati at 3, where I think both of us would say, hey, they're going to take an offensive tackle. Mm-hmm. I think that's what we would both say. And so then you get to 4, and in this scenario, Justin Fields is sitting there. That's right brick on my brick. Because somebody's coming to get it. You look down, and the Chargers right now are right behind the Cowboys. They don't need a quarterback.
Right.
Philadelphia, maybe. Carolina, I think with Joe Brady, the guy who orchestrated the LSU offense, who's now in Carolina, and with Matt Rule, they're way in on somebody like Justin Fields and maybe somebody like Trey Lance. Mm-hmm. I think they're way in on a quarterback like that. With the mobility, we're going to spread it out. We're going to use our quarterback's legs. Washington at 8, they're taking a quarterback. If all 4 quarterbacks, if there were no trades, all 4 quarterbacks are gone by 8. They're gone.
Sure.
So then you go down to the next guys. Detroit and Atlanta, maybe. Miami, no. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 right now. Denver, Chicago, Minnesota, New England, San Francisco. All of them.
Right.
Every one of them wants a quarterback.
Right.
Every one of them. And so this is right brick on my brick, I think, is you got to pay to come get them. You want them? Come get them. And if you have Justin Fields as the guy that's sitting there, they're coming for you. And I see somebody talking about my mic. I'll put it on the mic stand. I got a mic stand. Back the camera up. Back the camera up. I just like to hold it. I like to free flow.
Because you're a showman, sir. I think as long, first of all, let me just, you know what I'm saying? Let me just give you praise, by the way, by how you're handling this whole right brick on my brick thing. But I just think that, you know, when the price of the brick goes up, we're going to want to have one of them, right? So your draft picks are most valuable on draft day. And that's a good little gem for y'all because we ain't said that on the last 15 minutes. You know what I mean? It's just more valuable to you the closer to the draft you get. So if you're sitting around, you may go, oh, we don't need a quarterback. We're fine. We'll go get Mac or something, you know? And Trevor comes off the board at 1. And whoever comes off the board at 2. If you have Fields or Wilson in your pocket, by the time we get to 4, because you don't think Bengals are going to trade back, you know, they're probably going to get Sewell to keep Joe upright. You know what I mean? So when you have one in your hand and their price is through the roof, you can get a ransom for it. You know what I mean? We're not going to get too deep into what picks you might get because we don't know. We don't even know where we'll trade back to or anything like that. But in this draft, based on how talent works or whatever, you want to be in the first round. You want to be between 11 and 22. Because if you can't get anything, like if we win 2 games and end up drafting 5th overall, the draft is done. I'm not going to be excited because nobody's going to trade up to go get Kayla Farley or to go get Micah Parsons or anything. They're not going to trade up to get, you know, like we're going to be forced to pick somebody and we're not going to be happy. You'll feel better by picking any of those dudes at 10, 11, 12 overall than 5th overall. You see what I'm saying? So we got to keep losing games. We got to find a way to lose to the Bengals. Terrence Steele is going to make that work. Right brick on my brick. And
he can do that. He can do. He's capable. He's capable. And you said we're not going to get too far into it, but I will tell you that on the trade chart, if you took like Chicago at 13, their 1, their 2, their 3 is in theory worth number 4. So you could have their first round pick at 13, 45, and then 77 or whatever. That's what you could get. And when teams are coming up for a quarterback, a lot of times they pay a tax. Sure. So maybe it would be 1, 2, and next year's 1. Maybe it'd be 1, 3, and next year's 1. But yeah, we got to get out of there, Voch, because if we get stuck there in our deleted 15 minutes, we stumbled into what we might want to do, and the Dallas Cowboy fan base would lose its mind.
Yeah,
lose its mind.
Yeah,
if Jamar Chase was the best player on the board.
So, would you? Because I know you love receivers, fam. First of all, you love receivers, and you want to do it anyway. But here's my logic to why I would. Okay, I was talking about this. My theory that rookies don't really impact your team from a core standpoint year 1 anyway. Like if you look at our core guys, yes, CeeDee Lamb is good, but he's not a core guy to what we do. 4, 21, 77, 71, 19 are our core guys, right? CeeDee Lamb will probably be a core guy next year or a year after that. So Jamar Chase, and I feel like you do have to play him immediately, just to be fair, because he's that good. You have to play him immediately, rotate him in, do something with him, give him the catches that Cedric Wilson got this year. You got to play him. But he's not really going to be one of your guys until year 2 or 3. And by the time you get to year 2 or 3, Gallup may or may not be here anymore, you know? And if it's going to be a situation where Dak is going to get most of the monies and salary cap goes down, you need to find cheap dudes that's going to hold you down in that way anyway. So in my mind, if it's a situation, because somebody's probably asked you and they've definitely asked me, if we can't get Sewell and we can't get a trade back, 10 seconds left on the clock, a quarterback is on the board, we're not going quarterback. What do? I would much rather get a wide receiver that I feel really good about, that I know is going to be around for 5 years, and I know I'm going to need receiver next year or year after that. He's going to be around for 5. I would rather take that dude than take a cornerback that I don't feel great about taking at 4th overall.
Yeah, you're stuck. If you were really stuck, and first of all, I don't believe in being stuck. I believe I could always trade. I would just have to, quote, lose the trade. Like, surely somebody wants to come up. They just offer you something where you're like, oh, I don't think that's enough. Well, just make it enough. Just go. Say, yes, I'll, quote, lose the trade to gather draft picks. But, yeah, it's weird. I hadn't, until talking to you, I hadn't really thought about it or considered it.
Sure.
But I'm a firm believer. Like, when CeeDee Lamb was on the board, you had to pick him because he was the best player on the board. You had to. because it's for the next 5 years. They have 5-year contracts. If you have them graded and Jamar Chase is the best player on the board, and the next closest guy, most people use some sort of number scale to grade. And let's say there's a gap between Jamar Chase and whoever's next on your board.
Sure.
You're doing a disservice to your team for the next half decade if you don't pick him. So what you do is you pick him and you figure it out from there. And maybe figured out from there means trading Gallup on draft night. It just opens up all sorts of avenues. Or you keep all 4 and see what happens. But you'd have to do it.
Andy says, why would you draft a receiver in the first round? Fam, because you got to. Because you can't play around with your board in that way and just take guys for the sake of, oh, we need this, I'm gonna take them. That's how you make a mistake. And to be fair, we love to get not we, but like them, y'all love to get on to Jerry Jones. He doesn't know what he's doing. The most, if y'all want to say that we're not good at drafting, whatever, if you want to take that, that thought or whatever, then sure, let's reach for a corner. Let's reach for the edge rusher that nobody wants. Let's go get Rousseau because somebody says let's go get Rousseau. Let's take an off-ball linebacker. Let's take a safety, and then you'll feel bad about it. But you got Jamar Chase. You won't be thrilled on draft night. But when you line up with Jamar Chase, damn it, you got Coop, Lamb, Gallup, and Jamar Chase. And then when Gallup is gone, you know what? I feel really good that we got Jamar Chase. You see what I'm saying? You just can't be so tunnel vision in a situation where we got receivers. Let's not take one. Just take the best guy. Take the best guy and find out where to put him, especially in this league where you need offense. Kansas City got four wide receivers, and Sammy Watkins is the slowest. Just pile up. Just pile up and keep just do your thing. You
owe it to yourself and you owe it to your fan base. Like a lot of fan base people who are saying, like, why would you? Your defense is bad. Why would you? Why would you? Because the biggest mistakes in the draft that you make, especially in the first round, are when you pick for need. That's where you make your biggest mistakes. For example, I think a lot of people who are watching right now would be like, no, we need to take a corner.
Sure.
All right. Well, what if, and I'll just talk about how I've graded the players I've watched so far. And you say Jamar Chase is a top 10 player in any draft. And the top corners in this draft, to me, are going to have grades that are my cheater grades, 1, 2. So one guy's graded as a top 10 player. The other guys at the position you want to pick aren't even graded as true ones.
Right.
And you want to reach way down there on purpose because that's what your team needs.
Sure.
Well, when you bust because you picked your 19th best player over your 4th best player, you're going to feel like an idiot.
Right.
If you draft a guy that you think is way better than everybody else and then adjust accordingly, whether that's just going out and playing or moving somebody else, you'll never regret it because you picked the best player. You reach, you will regret it.
Yeah. And plus in 3 years or so, we'll look at what CeeDee Lamb is, and then we'll look at what Chason is. We'll go, you know what? I'm pretty glad that we held it down, that we were very composed in that situation. Shouts out to my man Nova Legion. He's bringing this point up that got us into another little point that we talked about in that immaculate 15 minutes. The even more reason to trade back because some of the players that you want are playing positions where they aren't premium positions. You know what I mean? So you may want like this, or you'll say like, why don't Dallas draft one techs? Why don't Dallas draft safeties or whatever? Because we don't have picks in the 30s, and that's really where safeties go. Safeties go like late 20s, 30s, you know what I'm saying? So by the time we're on the board, those guys aren't there anymore. So y'all want safeties, y'all want like Delpit, guys like Xavier McKinney, guys like Antoine Winfield, they all went in the 30s. So if you want a one tech, you want safeties, you want off-ball linebackers, that's where they're going to be at. So that gives you even more incentive to trade back. Get rid of that 4th overall pick, get a gang of these seconds, get a first next year, hopefully, prayer hand emojis that you get a first next year so that we can do that thing that the Dolphins doing with the Texans right now and build your defense in that way. Like the draft ain't over on day 1. Like you can still get some gangsters on day 2. I'm more excited about day 2 guys than day 1 anyway. And then you got day 3, man. So, relax.
I think round 2 and 3 is where this draft is really going to shine. That's what I think. And I think why you want to move down so bad is like the Cowboys historically don't really value safety very highly.
Sure.
So what I need is for them to have an extra pick. Yeah. I need an extra pick in the top 50. How do you do that? You trade down. So now I'm in the right range to pick the guys that I'm comfortable picking at either corner or pass rusher. And now I put myself in the range where I can use my own early second round pick on a safety, and then I can use my newly acquired second round pick on my other corner or my other edge guy or my defensive tackle, who that's a good spot for defensive tackles, is middle end of the second round.
Sure.
I just need an extra pick. That's how I'm going to get, say, my safety. That's how I'm going to get them, is by moving down.
Yeah. Safeties, all ball linebackers, D linemen, all that.
Nick Bolton.
Even though I think there's something to you're only as good as what you invest in. And I think the Cowboys offense is clearly better than the Cowboys defense. And this ain't just a Cowboys show. This is for all draft people. So whatever. But I'm talking from a Cowboys perspective. We put all our first round picks in the offense. That's why our offense top tier. You know what I'm saying? So I would love to put first round picks into defense, but this just ain't that year, fam. Chase Young.
In a perfect world, you would get on the clock with your first round pick in the top 5, and you would have a Myles Garrett prospect. You would have an Aaron Donald prospect. You would have a Jalen Ramsey prospect. What I'm telling you, and I think what we are telling you, he doesn't exist in this one. That guy doesn't exist. So you don't just throw a pick at defense because you need defense. You're going for a combination of best value, impact on your football team, and what is this guy's career going to look like? Yeah. Not week 1 of 2021.
Sure. 100%, Mr. Wolf. You want to get into some prospects, sir?
Come on.
All right. So we did a little trade of sorts or whatnot. I told you to watch Rousseau, Quiddy Pay, Boogie Basham, and you wanted me to watch Nick Bolton, Joseph Osai, and one of the corners. I was gonna watch J.C. Horn, but I ended up watching Kayla Farley. So my bad. We'll get to it. And
so I watched the guys that you asked me to watch, and you did not watch the guys that I got it. Okay. And then you didn't hit record on the greatest 15 minutes in draft talk history. Okay.
What do you want me to do? I just threw my note card.
I just want you to do the assignment. I want you to do the assignment, and I want you to hit record. I don't ask a lot. I don't ask a lot of watch people. I just hit record and do the homework. That's all I ask.
I threw my note card, or I would have told you. All right. Flimsy. All right. So you want to go your guys first or my guys first? What are you gonna do?
I don't care. I've got my notes and my board pulled up. I'm down for whatever.
I watched Nick Bolton. Damn.
You're welcome.
Let me tell you something about Nick Bolton, man. So the people that's watching on my show, they've been with me for a good little bit, and I have a problem with linebackers that don't read their keys very well. That was my biggest thing with like Reuben Foster, right? Like Reuben Foster, nice. He's big as hell. He can move around a little bit, but he looks confused. You know what I mean? I don't want somebody to get misdirected to death, because we kind of got linebackers that get misdirected to death.
Well, then you do not have a problem with Nick Bolton.
Bolton does not get misdirected to death. If there are 2 people on this list that we're going to talk about today, they deal with the read option better than I've ever seen it. They deal with misdirection better than I've ever seen it. My thing about Nick Bolton, okay, so he's not going to be like an early Micah Parsons type of dude, but Micah Parsons is one of those early type of cats because of his phenotype, the physical, you know what I mean? Like, he's going to run around like a maniac. He got some good size to him. He can go down and pass rush, like legit pass rush, not like Isaiah Simmons pass rush, right? Oh, he's a safety. Oh, he's Jamal. He can pass rush. No, he can pass rush. Like Micah Parsons can go. But if he got a problem anywhere, and that's probably why he plays the way he plays or whatnot, but he doesn't see it as quick as he should. And that may come from being a young player. Like, if he'd hung around and played some more football, maybe he could see things a little better. That's why I like older players. They just see it. Nick Bolton sees things. Now, Nick Bolton is like, he's not going to be the best East-West guy. Like, that's what you will go get Parsons for. But if it's anything within the tackle box, he's getting down. Can I cuss on your side of the show?
Oh, I don't care.
He's getting his ass downhill quick, and he's thumping somebody, and he doesn't miss. And apparently he's small, but on film he don't look small. Like
he's gonna be listed at 6 foot 230, so he's gonna be 6 foot 225.
But he looked thicker than everybody out there, though. You know what I'm saying? So it's probably just a lower body thing. But he doesn't have the super speed that Parsons has. But if he's within his rights, if he's within his range, you're gonna get hit, and body's gonna hit the floor. And I love that. He's really comfortable dealing with like blocks or whatever. Offensive linemen do not scare him. He's not like one of these. He's not a Jalen Smith guy where he's like avoiding and dipping and getting out of the way. Like he'll thump and stay in his gap integrity, and he'll, you know what I'm saying, make his plays or whatever. And he can cover. Chill. Did you watch the Florida game?
Yeah. Oh yeah. When they went 4-by-1. They went 4 wide on one side, and then they motioned the running back out with Nick Bolton by himself. It was a linebacker on a Florida running back. They can run, and he covered it. He that's to me, that's the difference. And Nick Bolton is a Missouri linebacker who, if Micah Parsons could take the parts of Bolton's game, then he would be the guy that I'd be like, yeah, take him in the top 5.
Sure.
Because Micah Parsons is maybe the best sideline to sideline running linebacker I've seen in the 7 years I've been doing this.
Yes.
That's how athletically gifted he is.
Yes.
But he's young at the position. He came to Penn State as a pass rusher and running back out of high school. So he's played linebacker essentially for 2 years of his life, and you can tell he looks unsure in coverage. When he's right, when he's coming forward at the snap and shooting gaps, it's the best stuff you've ever seen. But he'll shoot a wrong gap. He'll be late to react. Those things exist with Micah Parsons. So he's going to be picked at a certain place because he's old school size with new school athleticism. He's a freak show. If he reaches his potential, he's a Hall of Famer. So that's going to get him drafted really high. The guys I gravitate towards a lot are the guys with a higher floor.
Sure.
And when you have a linebacker who keys perfectly, who stays square of the line of scrimmage with a great shuffle when he's going side to side, who can run, who can thump, Nick Bolton's my kind of guy that I pick in the 20s or 30s, and I love it.
I think it's Van Der Esch versus Darius Leonard again. You know, like when I watched Van Der Esch, he was built like everything that you wanted the Mike to be, but he's really a will linebacker because he doesn't, deal with Mike things very well. He just doesn't have the nuance and the polish. Those are two of my favorite draft words: nuance and polish. Bolton has the nuance and the polish. You see what I'm saying?
I'm going to try not to make a habit out of going after people texting in. Jeff wanted to draft Watt when he was still learning the position. What's the difference with Parsons? Watt wasn't learning anything. Watt played on a 4-man line just with his hand off the ground. Yeah. And he played the run and held the point of attack better than Taco Charlton, even though he was 20 pounds lighter. And he was a better pass rusher than Taco Charlton, even though he was 20 pounds lighter. And he was a freak athlete at the combine. TJ Watt was safe. Yeah. TJ Watt was a stud. He was not learning to play edge. He was an edge. And he was a stud at it.
Yep.
At Wisconsin, you got to understand, at Wisconsin, and he might have only been 2 years into playing on the edge, but at Wisconsin, you got to understand, they teach those edge guys. I don't know who their guys are this year, but I guarantee you they can stack and shed an offensive tackle and they can turn the corner.
Sure.
Well, they teach them at Wisconsin.
Sure.
They turn them out.
I had a feeling TJ Watt was going to be good, but TJ Watt now ain't the TJ Watt at Wisconsin. So so there's this one thing that we got to get right in the draft world. Like, we're only responsible for what they project into, what they turn into after 4 years. We're not responsible for that. You know what I mean? So like Justin Herbert, we can only evaluate him as Oregon guy. Justin Herbert as Chargers dude ain't the same as Justin Herbert as Oregon guy. So like, shut up.
And that's the challenge. That's the biggest challenge. Is like Justin Herbert, Oregon guy, it turns out, was limited by the system in some ways, but he also is somehow a much more consistently accurate thrower in the NFL than he was in college. That's wild. He was a good prospect. Now he looks like he might be a great NFL quarterback, and kudos to him.
Yep. And there's nothing we can do about that. But back on track though, that was Nick Bolton. He's a linebacker from Missouri. Check him out, please. Actually, what I did was, because I anticipated this happening, over on my patreon.com/Voch Lombardi, I actually uploaded a long form film session of me watching Nick Bolton today. So y'all go over there and check that out. Joseph Osai, Texas dude. I feel a little different about Joseph Osai than Nick Bolton, not in a bad way, but just in the sense that they're different guys. I don't think Joseph Osai is an edge necessarily. I just think he's a linebacker that pass rush sometimes.
Ooh.
I think he's a linebacker that pass rush sometimes.
That's what he used to be when they moved him to the edges when he got good.
I feel like they should play him at edge a lot more, but they don't.
No. Okay, so this year he's an edge.
Okay.
Yeah, now he's an edge.
He's an edge today. Okay.
Yes. So 2019, they were playing him as a linebacker.
Okay.
He is now a full-time edge, and that is where he shines. You're right. So you had a good eye. You knew what Texas should do with him, and they have.
I will find some 2020 film and figure that out. But
the thing that I told you about, sent you one time, the TCU game's in there.
That was 19. I got 19 stuff. I didn't get 20 stuff.
Oh, you got the wrong. I'll get you the other one.
What?
We'll talk about it. Yes, I have the TCU 20 game.
We'll talk about it. But when I was watching Joseph Osai, right? First of all, let me just say the things that were weird so I could just gloat about him later. He was in this weird little DB stance. Like even when he was at linebacker, he was like, what's wrong with this dude's stance?
Right? Doesn't.
And I was looking at him in the cartel view, what we call a cartel view, but that's the O-line, D-line view. And I would watch it sometime and I would not see him in there. I'm like, is he not on the field? But he's just way outside somewhere in his damn DB stands. I'm like, what's going on with this Joseph Osai dude, right? It's just kind of whatever. But then I watched him play. Then I watched him like boogie a little bit, right? I watched him rush people, motor. He's super high effort guy. I like high effort guy. I immediately thought about my Temple guy, Reddick.
Hassan Reddick.
Super effort guy. The difference is I think he's bigger than Reddick, and his length is really gonna make him good. You see what I'm saying? To where he's not nuanced at all. He ain't got a whole bunch of technique that I see from him. But if he's super effort guy and he's super, you can't touch me because my extension is enabling you to not touch me, then I can see that dude being productive enough to be like, okay, if I just teach you how to grab this dude's wrist when you run past, like bend there, you know what I mean? Kind of stiff, but you could deal with that, you know what I mean? Because his ball get off and burst and speed thing, effort thing, he'll get you past that. But just me watching him as a linebacker, I wasn't thrilled. But I was like, yo, if they just line this dude up at edge, he'll be fine. If they just let him run past dudes and effort his way past offensive linemen, he'll be fine. I watched Oklahoma game, I believe, and he kept missing CeeDee Lamb because it's CeeDee Lamb, but he was constantly chasing CeeDee Lamb. You see what I mean? He was constantly in that funk with him. You know what I mean? So I'm a fan of Joseph Osai. He's probably another late mid first round dude. But if he's an edge guy, he may get bumped up just off the strength of being an edge guy.
So we're going to talk about a lot of these guys where Captain Trade Down wants to ride. Maybe Captain Trade Down could ride twice, and you end up in the 20s or 30s. And the first guy that you take is somebody like Joseph Osai, because I think now that they're lining him up on the edge, and he still does his DB stance on the edge sometimes, and then he does a pass rushing stance other times. So it's almost like the Texas defensive play call is you're playing the run or you're rushing the passer, and you can tell by which one he's in. But I mean, I agree with the first thing that you said is the first thing I said too. Motor's hot, never stops. Never, ever, ever stops. He's a fighter. He pursues the ball. I wouldn't be surprised if he runs around a 4.6 flat. He can run. For a guy he's not heavy for a D end.
Right.
He can hold his ground pretty well in the run game. He's got a little bit of a straight arm. He can track the ball in the run game. He's in the top 5 in the country right now in pressures for this college football season. Balance, powerful hands, relentlessness. That I think those are his things. And I think that's a guy that you pick around the 20s. So yeah, Texas, Joseph Osai. Give him a watch.
We are 30 minutes in. We have recovered from that debacle pretty well. Shouts out to you, Jeff. I got 407 people watching live on my side. Hey, if y'all are not subbed to Jeff, go over to Jeff Cavanaugh on YouTube and don't just watch his videos. Hit the sub and watch his videos. Hit the bell so you know when he drops these miscellaneous news updates that he does. He even does film over there. And if you're on Jeff's side watching Voch Lombardi, VOCH LOMBARDI, come over here and like my stuff and hit the little bell so you know when I drop these miscellaneous. Also, too, Joseph Osai, I was watching the film on Joseph Osai too, so I dropped that on my Patreon as well because I'm holding it down for my Patreons this year, dog. So that's Nick Bolton and Joseph Osai film over there. Go check that out. The link is in the description. I don't think there's a description because I'm doing this from StreamYard, but patreon.com/Voch Lombardi. Check it out.
Get it together, Voch.
Man, look,
get it together.
All this is on the fly. If I had a producer, Skywalker Steel, if I had a producer, this thing would be
really funny because I reached out to Skywalker Steel not too long ago about something where I was like, I'm not going to talk about it. But same idea. I may need a producer.
What's up? When me and you get that thing that we talked about and they open up the they're like, hey, do you guys need a producer? We'll ask for Skywalker Steel because he's good at it. All right. Boom, boom, boom. And Kayla Farley. So only reason I watched Kayla Farley because Dane Brugler kind of like mocked him to us. And I'm like, all right, cool. Let's see if I'll be happy with him at like 4th overall. All right, cool. So I watched him. Out of the corners that I have watched, I probably like him the most. Do I like him 4th overall most? Probably not. Probably not. But the analogy that I'm using to get people to understand how I feel about these corners, right? I think it's a good analogy. If you had to line up against the Cowboys, I'm putting Surtain on Gallup because I don't feel good about Surtain covering Coop. I'm putting Sean Wade on CD because I don't like Sean Wade on the boundaries. I think he's really good as a nickel corner because that's what he played in 20 last year. He's bad at it this year. Put him at nickel, let him fly. I think Kayla Farley is the only corner so far that I've watched that can legitimately go outside, cover a number 1 dude, and you don't feel terrible about it. You see what I'm saying?
I do.
He probably just got to work on some technique stuff, like some nuanced things that's really going to get him in trouble. I think he got to figure out spacing because sometimes he'll either be real far away from a dude or real close up on a dude, and that could be either big play or a penalty. But in terms of I'm just going to run with somebody, he can do it. He can do it. Go ahead.
I think I'm having trouble so far putting them in order, and I'll do it later. But I feel like Surtain at Alabama, I might trust the most day 1 in the NFL. Mm-hmm. J.C. Horn at South Carolina, I'm comfortable that he's going to be a starter in the league for over half a decade. And Caleb Farley, to me, is the highest ceiling.
Yes.
If you had to pick out of this cornerback group and say, we're going to pretend we can see the future and say, okay, one of these guys is going to turn into a legitimate follow the number 1 receiver and lock him up. Who is it? My answer would be Caleb Farley. Sure. I don't think he's there yet, but when his best tape, I think is the best tape of this corner class. So I'll just breeze through notes I have on Caleb Farley. I watched him against Wake Forest, Notre Dame, and Miami. Twitchiness jumps off the screen. Dude he's an athlete. He has pass interferences in Notre Dame and Miami games when he doesn't get his head around. He's only played DB for 2 years. He came to Virginia Tech as a dual threat quarterback. He showed up to play receiver, redshirted, then he's been a DB for 2 years. He's young at the position. He's not polished at the line of scrimmage. He can be beat off the line. See the Notre Dame game. Super twitched up dude. Off coverage will be a work in progress. Chase Claypool got him on a post that was underthrown, but a teammate picked it off. Long and athletic. Deep balls, a lot of times it looks like it's thrown to him. That's how well he gets to the ball. Can go up with the big guys and bat it away. He's willing to hit coming forward. Tons of ability. 4 picks, 12 passes defended. He's going to make plays. Claypool got him on an out and up. Guy at Miami got him on a jump ball down the sideline where he didn't get his head around. Gave up a corner route for a touchdown to number 4 Thomas in the Miami game, who does have some nice quickness. I think he's solid, but has tons of potential. So that's how I see Caleb Farley.
So he's Trevon Diggs, kind of, sort of. Technically.
I don't think Trevon Diggs is the athlete that Farley is.
Agreed.
I think Farley is definitely a twitchier dude than Diggs. So like Farley, if you said, where would you pick him in a regular cornerback class? I would be like, well, after like last year's class. And Okudah hasn't been great yet in the league. He's playing man coverage against all the best receivers in the league, and he hadn't been great yet, but I loved him as a prospect, Okudah. Farley would be behind Okudah. He'd be behind CJ Henderson. And then he'd be in the mix. Like maybe he would be the third corner last year. Mm-hmm. That's where I'd have him. So like that's a guy that to me is like I'd pick him in the mid to late teens, maybe the early 20s. And in this draft, we're talking about him in the top 5. That's this draft.
I think you got to have a lot of context when you talk about these guys. Like you just can't talk about them in the sense of who's better. Like you got to talk about situations. You got to talk about schemes that they're in. You got to talk about who they might be covering. So my whole thing about Surtain is if you draft him thinking he's going to be CB1 chasing Julio Jones, you may have a problem.
Yeah, put him on Tyreek Hill. See how that works out.
Carlton Davis, right?
Yeah, I think Caleb Farley, if he runs a 40, will be somewhere around a 4.4 flat.
Sure.
And I think Surtain will probably be in the 4.5s.
Sure. And that's a problem for Surtain. But if you don't lie to yourself about Surtain, you don't have a problem with Surtain. People lied to themselves about Fitzpatrick, Minka. And it was always Minka's an outside corner. No, he's not. Stop lying to yourself. But he's really good at what he does, which is that, rangy, I'm going to play around, nickel around, walk down safety type dude. Like that's what he's really good at. If you have an idea about what these dudes are really going to be good at, then you're fine. I like what you said when you said that Farley has the highest ceiling. If he can figure out his little technique problems and his little like spacing thing that I feel like he got to work, like he just got to know when to do things. Like once he learns when to do things, and that's just going to come with time. He's only been playing cornerback for a year and a half or 2 years or whatever. Once he figures that out, Farley's gonna be like, I think he could be like a Marshawn Lattimore type of guy. You were saying when his film is the best, it's the best. That's the Miami film. If y'all want an idea of what Kayla Farley could be, watch the Miami game. Like he was like a receiver right there. The ball's in the air, he chasing that mug, and he's putting hands on the ball. You know what I'm saying?
Tell you what, it also will help paint a picture of his weaknesses.
Sure,
because you're gonna see him give up a couple of big plays, including a touchdown, where it's just a guy who's new to the position.
Sure.
You can see it. You can see everything in the Miami game. You can see everything in the Notre Dame game. Sure. On the goal line, he has an interception where a guy tries to run a little like fade and then break out, and it's an 8-yard pass. But he's just so quick and has the makeup speed to undercut it and pick the ball off. So you'll see all of it.
Jeff, just do me a favor and say hey to this nice lady that I got pulled up on the screen here. She always speaks, man. I just gotta say hey to her, man. Just
hey Sheila, how you doing? Love you.
That's all we gotta do. Hey Miss Sheila. Everybody just want to come in and just get right to the talk, but nobody just they don't never speak politely when they come in the room. Miss Sheila speak every time. We got to hold it down for Miss Sheila. I like Farley though, but if I had to take him at 4th overall, if I was to take him and I was forced to play him as cornerback number 2, I'm like, all right, cool. He gets to be cornerback number 2. All right, at least he's number 2. But I wouldn't be thrilled. I'm trying to trade back. But those are my guys. But you watch Rousseau, Quiddy, Panay, Basham. Whatever order you want to go, sir. Let's start with Rousseau. I've been terribly wanting to talk to somebody about Rousseau because this time of year, this is where people just kind of look at the mocks and be like, oh, that dude's good because he's mocked here. I don't think he's good just simply because he's mocked here. I'm gonna let you go, but let me just say this because this is one thing that's kind of been floating around, right? If you Google Greg Rousseau, like his weight says 265. That dude ain't 265. I continue to like do some digging.
It might be because he's 6'7".
I dig and done my Googles. I know that's not proper English. My bad. He says that his playing weight was 240. So the film that we got, he's on the film at 240, which makes a little more sense. Now he may be up to 260 now, but we don't know how he looks at 260. So my logic is people that want to cape form or whatever, they just want to put on this, hey, he can be good, if he can be David Irving if he put on 30 pounds. Okay, he already put on 20 pounds to go from 240 to 260. You just don't put on healthy weight like that. He got to be obese to get from 240 to 290. So now my thing is he's 260. What do I do with him? You see what I'm saying? I'm gonna let you go and then I'm gonna bounce off you, sir. What do you think about Greg Rousseau?
I agree with you on the what do you do with him? Because I didn't know a lot of, I'll be honest, when I was coming into watching him, I knew he was a long, thin guy, but I thought what I was going to be watching was a long, thin guy like Randy Gregory in terms of turning the corner, bend, all that stuff. But he's a much more linear player. He's a much more straightforward player. And I was thinking of him going into watch as an edge. I don't think that's where he's best.
No.
So on his tape, I'll just read some. First of all, you got to give credit for the fact that as a redshirt freshman, he had 15.5 sacks and 19.5 tackles for loss. So production is there.
But let me tell you why I can't give him credit for that. Because 4 was against the worst guard I ever seen at Florida State, and 3 was against the second worst guard I ever seen at Pittsburgh. That's 7 seconds.
Fair.
I don't count.
Fair. Context matters.
Go ahead.
And not only that, but I remember like 2 or 3 years ago, there was a defensive tackle, DeMarcus Walker at Florida State, that led the nation in sacks, and I was like, he can't play.
Right.
He can't play. I'd pick him in the 7th round, and like not everybody who makes plays in college has what it physically takes to make plays in the NFL, and you got to know what you're looking for.
Sure.
So Gregory Rousseau, I started off watching him against Virginia, and now you're going to get mad at me because you already mocked this idea. I said, when I first look at him, it looks like a cross of Randy Gregory and David Irving.
Sure.
He plays inside and out and does some of his best work lined up at nose tackle.
Sure.
Like he lines up at nose tackle, and just this like, I guess it's the get off and the stride length that he just blows by guards from nose tackle.
But he doesn't have that burst outside though. He has no quickness outside. He can't turn at all.
I think he's a linear player, so I don't think he has a lot of bend. It's just that he kind of can get to where he's getting, and he's slender enough that you can't really stop him. And so I think he does his best work from the inside and then just screaming around a guard.
Yeah.
And length is a word you'll hear a lot in scouting circles, right?
Sure.
And that length is useful. So like when he's lined up at a defensive end spot, I don't think he knows what he's doing yet. He doesn't have a plan.
Right.
A lot of what he does is straight into an offensive tackle's chest and extend my arms. But that serves a purpose, because you'll see a lot of plays where a quarterback's stepping up in the pocket, and because he's so long, it's just get off me. I'm going to tackle this guy for a short gain or whatever. So the tools he has are good, but right now what they are is their tools.
Yeah.
It's a 1-year production guy that I don't know that he's a true edge, and you're hoping you can develop him, I guess, into something like Eric Armstead or DeForest Buckner.
So look, this my whole problem with that. He's 240. Like those dudes weren't 240.
No, they were 290.
They were 290, and then they got into their grown man body and they turned into a swole whatever they ended up being. That ain't what he is, right? Even when you look at him, right? Like when you watch film on it, because you got to think twice about what you're doing, right? I watch him and I go, okay, he looks strong on this rep. He's a strong, skinny dude. But if I think about how he was strong, he was either pushing Kyle Pitts around or some tight end, or he was strong because his length allowed people to not get on him. Opposed to, you know how like Randy Gregory was like small, but his hands was big and his pop was strong. Randy Gregory got pop. Rousseau ain't got that. Rousseau has what I call winning on the second phase of the block. So strong would be he comes off the ball, punches people, and they jolt back. That's not what happens. They catch him, but he extends and they can't touch him anymore. Then he gets off people. So he looks strong, but he's really just getting away from people because he's long. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but that's a quality trait. Because to me, the way I usually write that down is, to your point, there's initial power, and then what I call the other one is just doesn't stay blocked.
Sure.
Is able to disengage, and there's value in that.
Yeah.
So I think the tools of the length, it's a lot of potential, and I think that's what a lot of the top of this draft is in a area where we're used to talking about what I would call a clean prospect, where like I don't have a lot of questions. Here, people are going to be talking about in the top 10 guys that it's what you hope they're going to be.
My biggest issue is that when I saw that dude from Florida State, the fattest kid I ever seen, when I saw that dude try to block him, he tried to block Rousseau like this. The Pittsburgh kid tried to block Rousseau like this. You watch film. How many times have you seen Tyron Smith, Bakhtiari, Lane Johnson? How many times have you seen them slap some hands down, then grab a gentleman, then put him in the the ground. That happens. You're going to go against these grown men that have nuance to their game. If you ain't got nuance, you got a problem. He's probably the last dude that should have opted out this year. You see what I'm saying? Because I don't think he needed some more football, man. He needed some more of them off-season peanut butter sandwiches to get big and strong. You know what I'm saying? If you line him up inside, he's not big or strong enough. If you line him up outside, he's not an outside linebacker. He's not. Because
here's the interesting thing though about what you're saying is we can say, like, as an evaluator, I wish Rousseau played this year. I wish Caleb Farley played this year. Mm-hmm. But look how this is going to play out for them.
Sure.
Rousseau's going to, without playing, get picked in the first round, maybe in the top 15. Sure. And NFL teams are going to be torn on him. Mm-hmm. There's going to be some teams that are going to be like, yeah, he's like a fourth round guy. And there's going to be some teams that are going to look at him and be like, oh my God, let me tell you what I can do with him. Sure. And so I think it all depends. He could have helped himself if he played in 2020 and he was a monster. What if he played in 2020 and he had 6 sacks?
Sure.
Now he's maybe a third or fourth round guy. And Farley, without playing, if he would have played exactly how he played last year, Caleb Farley might go in the middle of the second round. But if he doesn't play at all, teams just look at those traits. And if you know one thing about NFL, whether it's coaches or front offices, they are way overconfident about what they can do with someone.
Sure.
So they're going to get to look at, sometimes when you have more tape, it's more to pick apart. And the less you have, if you showed glimpses and traits, it's good for you. So yeah, it may not help their career path, but for some of these guys, I think it's actually going to help them.
It's good for him on the business side and getting drafted, but once he put the pads on, he's probably going to have a problem.
Yeah.
So Pete, let me just try this last name, Panaguotopoulos.
Pete's good people. Pete's good people. He watches every video both of us do. Pete's a sweet man.
He's a good dude. But he said Rousseau isn't 240. I'm saying what Rousseau said. Rousseau said, hey, look, when you watch that 2019 film, I'm 240. Okay, cool. So if he was 240 in the film and he's 260 now, he's put on 20 pounds already, which is a lot. So if you want him to put even more pounds on to get to 280 or 290, he's either going to be fat or he's going to be a totally different dude. You see what I'm saying? And that comes even more. So look, Pete, you can like Rousseau. I don't hate you for liking Rousseau. If you've done the research and watched the film, you like who you are. I don't care. He could be edge one to you. I don't care. But I'm saying why I'm not so high on Rousseau. And there's going to be a coach that feel like they can fix him. I just don't want that to be my coach. I just don't want us to have to deal with that problem. If he ends up being a success story, cool. I just don't want to shoot dice in the bathroom. Jeff, I will explain what shooting dice in the bathroom means on another day.
I shoot dice all the time, but not in the bathroom. Would you take him at 36?
No.
Would you take him in the third round?
Let me tell you why not. Because I think I can find a polished enough player that's not a project that I can use, that I have a better feel for. You see what I'm saying? I think day 3 is for project dudes, gun under the seat guy. Weed guy doesn't exist no more. Hurt guy, kidnap my girlfriend guy. Those dudes are day 3 dudes.
Broadus and I call the fourth round the criminal round.
Fair enough. That's great name for it. I think Rousseau is good for that. But if I'm to decide, okay, Voch, Marvin Wilson or Greg Rousseau, if I feel really good about a safety or Greg Rousseau, if something happens in one of your favorite corners, if Surtain ends up being if he ends up at the 33rd overall pick, some people say there's no way, but Greedy Williams ended up in the second round. Byron Murphy from Washington ended up being a second. You never know. We don't know. You never know. So if somebody that you really like is there in the second round, you got to pick out of him or Rousseau, a guy that could be great, but you don't know how he's going to be great or how you're going to fix him. I can't do that, and I feel that way about third round picks too. So he's a day 3 guy to me.
Yeah, he'll go higher than that, but I respect it. I mean, I think there's guys that when I watch them, if I just don't see it, I say I'm gonna let somebody else do it. Like somebody else is going to be the guy that does it, and if he hits, so be it. I didn't see it. I'm not trying.
Pete really likes Russo. He's talking about his friend that was 6'6", and he talking about people in his personal life now. Yo, Pete, shouts out to you, bro.
I don't hate him as much as Voch. I don't know how he fits in Dallas.
And that's how I'm talking about him.
Right. The thing is, where do you play him? Is he going to be a 3-down lineman end? Is he going to be in that mold? Like, somebody's going to have to either use him one of two ways. Like a David Irving. Because what he is a skinnier, less powerful, more slippery David Irving.
Sure.
That's kind of what he is. And it's like, okay, where does that play? And that's what you got to figure out.
But that dude ain't good though. A David Irving that's like a small, not slippery, not super strong David Irving ain't a good player.
I think as a redshirt freshman, I do think he was 19. So like he will get bigger. But yeah, I mean, I'm with you in that I have questions about him. I'll put him like in the top of the second round. That's where I'll put him. Top or the middle of the second round.
Yeah, I don't want that smoke. But Kwity Paye though. I bet you like Paye, don't you?
Hold on. Let me tell you something about Kwity Paye.
Talk about Kwity Paye.
Like you had to say, because you got to talk about Osai and his funny stance.
Yeah.
Kwity Paye. I watched his tape.
Yeah.
And as I was watching it, I made a prediction to myself in my notes.
Mm-hmm.
And the prediction was he was a running back. And I went back and I looked it up. Sure enough, he was a state champ in the long jump in the 4x100. And he was a high school running back. And I knew because he still runs like a running back.
He doesn't move like a big dude.
No, he plays defensive end, but it's all like choppy, quick. Yeah. And I was like, he moves like a running back. So Kwity Paye at Michigan, somehow he's a 6'3", 270 pound, but it still almost looks like a running back build. And I bet you when they get to the combine, he's going to have short arms.
Yes.
I don't think he's a long-armed guy. I think he's a short-armed guy. But like Osai at Texas, always working, always hustling, motor's hot, twitched up. So I think what's going to happen with Paye is we're going to have a guy whose production in college is not great. So again, not what you would call a clean prospect. A clean prospect comes out after his junior year because he's had great production. He goes and tests well, and he gets picked in the top 10. Paye's a senior. He went back for his senior year. So,
but let's talk about like production though. Production like from numbers or production like okay, so he doesn't get a lot of sacks, so is that bad production or whatever?
6.5 sacks, 12.5 tackles for loss. That's okay for an NFL draft prospect.
If he's a left defensive end and his job ain't really to get sacks anyway, and he's more so of a run guy. So we just talked about with the corners, right? If you don't lie to yourself, you'll be good to go with a lot of these dudes. You don't draft Kwity Paye to be your right defensive end and say, "Oh, we're gonna rack up sacks with this dude."
I might.
He might though. He might because he can. Move.
I might. That's the thing about him because if his workout numbers are to be believed,
sure.
Pass rushers you want when you run a 3-cone drill, you want them to run under 7 seconds. If you run under 6'8", you're a freak of a defensive end. They say
he's a freak. They
say he runs a 6'3",
I got to see it,
which I've never heard of for a defensive end. So at the combine, if he runs a 6'6" 3-cone or a 6'7" 3-cone, he is playing right defensive end for somebody because they're going to say that is the physical traits we dream of for change of direction and explosion and speed. So like I like his tape, but if his measurables are what's advertised, then I'm going to love him.
Sure.
And that would be a guy that I would say in a normal year, where do you pick somebody like Kwity Paye? I would say 12 to 18.
Would you take him at 5 or 4?
I wouldn't be happy about it.
That's your problem.
Yeah, well, name somebody else. I wouldn't be happy about it. Name somebody else. I wouldn't be happy about it. I don't want to pick there.
When I watch Kwity Paye, he was like a robot to me. You know what I'm saying? Because like I can take somebody like being athletic or whatever and like running around. That's cool. But I've never seen that dude do a read option the wrong way. You know what I'm saying? Like they'll be reading him. He'll like, all right, I'm gonna squeeze, right? I'm gonna just go through my little motions. If you hand it off, I'm making a tackle on a running back. If you keep it, I'm hauling ass to come and get you. And I do not slow down until I get you. I thought that was incredible. I like how he punches and extends. He can be a little more consistent with it, you know what I'm saying? But I like how he uses his hands in the run game. As a pass rusher, you could just see that he clearly hasn't figured it out yet. You know what I mean? Like he just hasn't, it's just not clicking with him. But I was talking to you about this in the inbox or whatever. I'll take the dude that's okay at something and try to turn him into great at something, opposed to, oh, he's a super athlete, but he's terrible with his hands, and bring his hands to okay. I'll take the dude that's okay and bring him to great. I think you can turn Kwity Paye into great with a little bit of coaching. And I know this because he's a damn robot in the run game. Nobody just comes out the womb a robot in the run game. They got to teach him, yo, Kwity, don't chase the running back because the quarterback going to pull it and just run where you were. Kwity, I've never seen Kwity Paye get misdirected his life away. You know what I'm saying? If you're a team that needs some help in the run game, in the run department, like a run stop defensive end, Kwity that dude. Plus, he could probably play. He could probably play right defensive end for you because he's quick and twitchy. But the one thing I don't want though, Jeff, when Rashawn Gary came out, I was like, yo, that dude is a 3-tech, and that dude
a bad player.
That dude should just
bad player.
Rashawn Gary should be, or at least we should try him as quick 3-tech before we move on, right? I didn't too much want him at end, but he could play it. They ended up making him an outside linebacker, which I think was the worst thing. I don't want somebody, just because they saw Kwity Paye standing up, I don't want somebody to put Kwity Paye at outside linebacker. I think that'll be wasting him. You know what I'm saying? Keep his hands in the dirt, let him fly, let him play 3-tech, let him play 5, it'll be fine.
I think he has the potential to be a really good 4-3 defensive end on either side. A really good one where he can turn the corner, absolutely. And like you're talking about in the run game, I think the best thing about him in the run game is he seems like he knows what he's doing with his hands because he's not a long arm guy, but he will keep working, keep punching, like he's going, and he knows what he's doing to disengage. Yeah. So I think potentially he's going to be a really, really good player. What's going to happen is we're going to get to the combine. He's going to have 31 and 3/4-inch arms. And there's going to be teams that are like, oh, wait a minute, that's not a defensive end. And that team's going to be stupid.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with offensive tackles. The Northwestern guy, he's going to measure with 32-inch arms, and somebody's going to say he's not a tackle. And if somebody puts him at tackle in the NFL, he's going to play 15 years.
Yeah. And look, if you just watch the film, we're talking about Rashawn
Gary. Rashawn Gary was a bad player. I said in that draft because that was a groupthink one, I think, where a lot of experts had Rashawn Gary as a top 10 pick. Yeah. I watched his tape and I watched Chase Winovich on his same team. And I said, Winovich is a better player. I don't want to hear where Gary's going and that Winovich is going to be 50 picks later. Winovich is better. And I was right. I put Rashawn Gary in the middle of the 3rd round, like 3rd to 4th round, because all he was traits. He was not a good player.
Gary should be a 3-tech, sir. We're not going to scream about this all day, Jeff. Gary should be a 3-tech, and Green Bay ruined him, but that's not my fault. Shouts out to Dylan Reinbold. If we trade back from the early, I can read over here. If we trade back from the early first and receive a mid first, 2nd, and a 3rd, I want to take Holland from Oregon. Haven't watched him. In the mid-2nd, what do you guys think the 2nd round center field safeties? I don't know, but hey, look, appreciate the super chat. But whenever we watch them, you gonna know first, player. Appreciate
Dylan, it's a great question, and thank you for your contribution. And just know that next time we'll have your answer. Because safeties are kind of next on my list because that's one of the things I want them to do. So Morig, Cisco, Holland, next time we get together, we'll rock on those guys.
But Kwity Paye, I'm a fan of him. If I end up with that dude, however you end up with him, I'll be good to go. What I like, though, is he's going to be a Senior Bowl guy. So I think he's a Senior Bowl guy, I believe. So that'll be fun to watch him beat up on people. So him, Marvin Wilson, and Boogie Basham, if they end up doing Senior Bowl things, that'll be a really good one. Let's move along, sir. We're at 59 minutes. I ain't gonna hold you too much longer, sir. Even though we're having a good time. Penei Sewell, sir. What you think about offensive lineman Penei Sewell? Now, you said that you don't see him being like a top 5 dude or something like that.
Here's the way I would put it.
Okay.
Penei Sewell is a legitimate top 10 pick. I would have no problem if the Cowboys got stuck and he was the guy there and they picked him. I'd go, okay, that works. Because I think he can absolutely be a great guard and he can be a great tackle. I think he can play either one. My one thing about Sewell is I think because of this individual draft class, he's been elevated to where he is. Mm-hmm. Because Sewell's not a perfect prospect to me.
No.
I think some of what Sewell does, and you can see it when they played Auburn, and it was against Derek Brown.
Yeah.
Is that you have plays where Sewell isn't able to control Derek Brown because Derek Brown gets his hands into his chest, breaks himself free, and he's out of there. So for my biggest thing with Penei Sewell is I think he's got all the strength you want, all the power you want. He can move people in the run game. He can mirror in pass protection. I think he needs to shorten up his slides a little bit because he's so athletic that sometimes he'll kind of overset.
Sure.
But my biggest thing is he's so big and strong and athletic that the way that he blocks is like this.
He blocks like he's better than you. Like if I had to block a 5-year-old, I would block like it's the chase.
He comes up and over like a grizzly bear's attacking me, and then he grabs you by the shoulder pad. So when guys know how to play and are NFL level players, you're giving them your chest, and guys are going to be able to disengage from that, and that happens to him sometimes. So, and that's not me saying that Sewell isn't a really, really good. He's a really good prospect. He has all the physical traits that I want. He's got a lot of good tape. He can move people in the run game, and he can pass protect. That's a really, really good prospect. If this were last year, he would be my third or fourth offensive tackle. He would have been behind Jedrick Wills, behind Tristan Wirfs, Jedrick Wills, and maybe Mekhi Becton. I think it would have been him and Becton and Wills and Wirfs.
I would definitely keep Wills one. Sewell will probably be two. I don't know. But Jeff, don't ever do this. Don't ever go on Twitter and allude to the idea that Sewell could be a guard for you because Oregon Twitter is going to get pissed off. Offensive line Twitter is going to feel a certain kind of way, and then they'll just kind of attack you. But I feel like if Penei Sewell, I feel like if he like played guard for like a year or two, it'll probably clean up some of like his other little problems or whatnot. My problem with Sewell, and I over obsess over offensive linemen, so pardon me, but I feel like my whole thing with Sewell is the technical side when he's on the island with somebody. You know what I mean? Like if he's on the island, he's so weird technically that a dude that's nowhere near as good as him can beat him. But if he's in a phone booth wrestling with people, that dude's a gangster. It's different. So in my mind, regardless of what team he goes to, he can play tackle, but he can play free safety. He can play wide receiver. Where is he going to be best at? That dude is a gangster at guard right now because he can fight in the phone booth. He's nasty. He's physical. He gets there quickly. Jeff, he's the best reach blocker I've seen in a decade. Like if we just outside zone blocking to the right and he's the backside dude, he's reaching one text. He could do it because he got movement like that. You know what I'm saying?
Second level and third level too. He's really good.
Hell yeah. Like he loves knocking out little dudes. I like knocking out little dudes. That's a good nasty little trait, you know what I mean? But I need you to be consistent with your kick set. Now what? Like once you get to your third kick, that's who you are as an offensive lineman. And some guys kick, flex their hips properly, and they'll block their guy. Jedrick Wills got a little trick that I ain't never seen before where he turned his hips, but he keep his torso square. That was incredible when I first saw that contort his little mess like that. But Penei Sewell will get to his third kick, stop his foot, put his right foot in the ground, pick his left foot up, but still control the dude like you're controlling like your little brother hand on the forehead thing. It works because he's beating up on some Washington State kid. But when you get to the National Football League and JPP with his two fingers slap that thing down and does things to you, that's where you can lose at. So I want Penei Sewell to play guard. And Twitter didn't like it, but whatever.
Yeah, that's fine. I think if I need a guard, I'll play him there. Like if the Cowboys got stuck there, he'd be a guard for me till there was a tackle spot available. And he would be good at it because the Cowboys asked their guards to do a lot of reaching and a lot of second level stuff. And I think that he'd be incredible at it. So if he ended up a Cowboy with the top 5 pick, then I just use the top 5 pick on a guard and we'll have to get over it.
Sure. 100%, Mr. Wolf. We got a super chat from Rich V2 version 2. He says opinions of Creed Humphrey from Oklahoma. Haven't seen him yet, but I have watched him as I watched Ben Powers and Cody Forrest, Tamia, and Bobby Evans that year. I saw Creed there. Creed was good. I don't know what Creed looks like this year, but we'll get to him. Trust me.
I'm 12 players into this. It's an early start. It's December 2nd. We'll get all of them done, and we'll talk about all of them. I wish I was already there. I'm not there yet.
Well, see, people got to understand that is December 2nd, right? And I don't like being first. I don't mind being 12th because I know that once I get to April, not only will I have like 300 people in my brain, but I'll have them right. I don't want to be the dude that says Greg Rousseau's great right now just for the sake of being first. You know what I'm saying? And then Julian, me and Jeff talked about this on our top tier first 15-minute attempt. He says, can we get Brian Broaddus on this thing? I will hope for it one day. And if it happens, it happens, but it ain't gonna be in December, but it'll be like February maybe.
I don't want to volunteer someone else's time, but yes, I guarantee it.
Yeah,
I guarantee it.
Right. We gotta do it. There's no other choice.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
What else we got? What else we got? Quiddy Paper Nasal. Boogie Basham. Last one. Boogie Basham. What you think?
Boogie Basham. I love his name. It's weird that some of our top edges are seniors. It's really rare. And I think that says a lot about this class. Normally you've got juniors that come out that are super good and it's a done deal. Boogie Basham was interesting too, because I think that Boogie Basham, he's a redshirt senior. So he's going to be a little bit of an older prospect, but I think he's going to be a lot better when he knows what he's doing. So like he's 275, 280 pounds. And the first thing I did was I watched some of him against Clemson, and Trevor Lawrence escapes the pocket and he's going right. And he's trying to do the thing where it's like, oh, look, it's a defensive end. I'll give you a little pump fake and I'll outrun you. He did not outrun Boogie Basham.
No,
he got sacked. He plays both end spots, plays with his hand up and his hand down. And I think some of his best pass rush stuff is actually when he's kind of slow playing an offensive tackle, where he's just kind of coming up and stuttering, and then it's quick hand swipe, quick feet. Yeah. He loves swat and swim. Loves it, loves it, loves it.
Right.
He works down the line against a tight end block to make a play in the backfield. Like, I think he has power in his body. I don't think he knows how to use his hands to convert it.
Sure.
So, like, I see a guy that when he is working down the line and it's kind of an indirect block, like he can power through things, but I see his rushes stall out. And in the run game, I see a lot of where it's like he's running into alignment with his shoulder and just kind of running. So the things I think he needs to get better at is know how to use your hands. You've got the quickness. You've got the foot speed. You've got a lot. If he knew how to really just engage and use his hands and his arms, I think he could then generate power. So for me, I liked but didn't love Basham.
Yeah.
To me, he's a guy that you pick late 20s to 30s.
Sure.
And could turn into something really good.
I think he just needs some polish. Time and polish, you know, like there's this thing D-Law does that he didn't do when he first came out, where he'll be rushing from the left side or whatever, and he'll jab with the left hand distance, and he'll control that other wrist, and he'll just carry somebody to the court. I want Basham just to do things like that, because he got everything else. You know what I mean? Like, he has big boy movements. Like he's not Quiddy Pay or nothing like that, but he does have big boy movement skills. He has the effort. I mean, he ain't got like Joseph Osai effort or whatever, but he got effort. You know what I mean? He got size. Like, he ain't got, such and such size, but he's pretty balanced. You know, like if it was Mario Kart, he'd be the Mario dude. He'd be like right in the middle. He got weight. He got this. He got that. He's just not great at anything. But when we talk about, coaching guys, right? I talked about guys that I hope would be coachable, right? If you take Boogie and just add some things to him, he can go from solid to really, really good. Now, we're talking about these edge dudes, and we've talked, are any of these dudes top 10? No.
Maybe Pay, because if his athleticism is what's been advertised, then that's freak show stuff. That's stuff that you're going to look at and be like, crap. Unless I'm a bad coach, we're getting double-digit sacks out of this guy.
100%. My whole thing, like, I like the ends this year. You just got to be realistic with the expectations. And I've watched 5 of them or so. And Greg Rousseau is in number 5. So I think
my order is Pay, Osai, Basham, Rousseau of the guys I've seen.
Let me watch 2020 Osai, and I'll get back with you. We're gonna have that conversation, and I'll definitely get back with you, sir. That's just how I feel. Bahama Boys dropped a deuce in there in the super chat. He says top 5 cornerback prospects. Kind of soon, but like there's Wade, Farley, Horn, Surtain, and
there's a kid at Clemson, Darion Kendricks, I think is in that mix. For now, I've only seen 3 of them, And I'll be honest, I graded every single one of them as a 1-2.
Yeah.
So the order to me is kind of irrelevant, and it's why I want to trade down. I'll let somebody else sort it out, and I'll reap the benefits of having an extra pick and a guy that I feel equally good about.
Clemson got a dude, Stanford got a dude, Georgia got 4 guys somehow.
Stokes, and I forget the other guy's name, but yeah, we'll get them. We'll get them all.
Trust me, we will get there, and as soon as the season's over, it's gonna triple time. So hang tight, man. We're gonna do a lot more of this. Jeff seems to be on board. We're doing a lot of this. It seems to be good for the block, good for the community, and all that. Right brick on my brick, and it'll be fun. You want to take like 3 questions or something, and then we're gonna get up out of here?
Oh, sure. All right, you take them from Twitter or from the chat.
I have my little chat here. I asked people to ask me questions earlier, but we're live now, so I guess we can just ask the chat box. Chat box, ask some good questions, please. I don't want to just.
Don't ask bad questions.
Yeah. Should we trade Dak Prescott for? Come on, son. Don't
for
ask.
Trevor Lawrence straight up. I would.
This is my thing, Jeff.
Only straight up. If they ask for a pick, they go to hell.
I wouldn't. Let me tell you why.
I'm not mad at you if you wouldn't, but I would take the chance because I'm insane.
Because I've shot dice in bathrooms in bad neighborhoods for Jeff. And this is my thing. I know what I have with Dak.
Yep.
You could have a great prospect with Trevor Lawrence.
Could.
But what if Trevor Lawrence don't work hard?
Sucks.
What if Trevor Lawrence makes bad sleep number commercials? You know what I mean?
Sucks.
What if Trevor's not a good locker room guy? What if he's you know what I'm saying? Like, these dudes are like projections. They project well. But Dak is currently a top 5 quarterback in the league. And look, people kind of got on to me for saying Dak's top 5. I don't want to be told so, guy, because nobody wants to be that guy. But if you look at the league now, like, who's good? Like, everybody sucks. Like, Lamar Jackson and Deshaun Watson ain't better than Dak. I'll say that. Say something. You know what I mean? So if Dak's a top 5 guy, Trevor Lawrence got to be a top 2 guy to make me even think about this. And I don't think he's in that Pat category. So I don't know.
Unless he is.
Unless he is. It could be a boat, Jeff. Let's see. Any oods on getting rid of Nolan and taking a look at Patricia as new D? I don't watch film on coaches, but maybe Jeff got something on this. Jeff?
I think my guess is that Mike Nolan's going to be safe because the way the defense played early in the year was atrocious. And back then I would have been like, ooh, this guy might be in trouble. But now that they've come around and they're kind of playing okay and they don't have a lot of good players and they've kind of simplified it, I think the hiring was a mistake. But you got to remember, in the NFL, it's people hiring their boys. So Mike McCarthy hired his boy because Mike Nolan once hired Mike McCarthy. So that's his guy. Unless it's awful, he's going to hold on to it. They'll use the COVID excuse. I think Mike Nolan's going to have at least another year.
Yeah. I ain't got nothing else on it. I hate questions like this. If Dak is so good, why is he on the franchise tag? Because Ty France didn't sign the deal. Whatever. Moving on.
Oh, well, I'm gonna say.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna say this is off the record while doing live stuff.
Sure.
But it is possible that Todd France and 3 of his franchise tag guys didn't get a deal done last year because Todd France's contract was coming up and he wanted to shop those big deals to his next employer. I'm just saying. And he has a new agency now.
That's some Illuminati shit. Oh, God. I hate that.
None of his tagged guys got a deal done, and he now is at a new agency. That's all I'm saying.
I hate that.
And now at that new agency, he's going to ink 3 big deals.
I hate that. Ugh. I hope it ain't true.
I'm not. All I'm saying is the facts are that none of his tagged guys got a deal done, and he is now with a new agency. And a new agency would love to have a bunch of big deals done for their agency.
With some brand new big money. Damn, son. I mean, do we end it there? I mean, shucks, man, dude.
I'm just saying.
Damn, man. That just makes me sad. All right, look, Jeff didn't say it, but Jeff simply said the facts, and we can just kind of we could just kind of take that and just, do whatever it is that we want to do with it. Somebody says, can we RKO Ty friends? Sure. I mean, I'm not advocating violence, but do what you want to do. You grown. I think that's it, man. I think that's all we got. Jeff, where can they find you at?
You can find me on YouTube, youtube.com/Jeff Kavanaugh. You can find me on Twitter at JC1053. You can find me on the radio from 2 to 7 on 1053 The Fan with Brian Broaddus and Gavin Dawson and Lucius Alexander. It's the G-Bag Nation on the home of the Cowboys, 1053 The Fan. You can find me on Instagram at Time for Jeffrey. You can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Jeff Kavanaugh. And that's it. I ran out.
I'm Voch.
You can find me at the house, DFW, Lake Highlands. If anybody wants to golf, I'm bad at it, but I'm trying.
Can you teach me how to golf? Because we didn't have golf in my community back.
I can try. I mean, I'm probably a better teacher than player. I've been taught enough that I should know what to tell people. I just can't do it.
Okay. Well, Voch is trying to be a little more cultured and distinguished. I sip wine now. Let's play golf. So
Jeffrey time. My tag on Call of Duty is Jeffrey time. I don't have any numbers, just Jeffrey, Jeffrey, not ERY, REY, time, TIME. Let's go.
There you go. Also, if y'all know anybody that want to sponsor this thing so that we can keep doing it, hey, tell them send us an email or something. My email in the description. All right, VochLombardi@gmail.com. Y'all hold it down for the Doski Woski and piece of your whiskey, man. Till next time, right brick on my brick. You heard? Peace, man.